Sorry about that. It's, wow. It's about my Ispilocrand. It's narcolepsy backwards. It's when you violently wake up. You're sleeping and you violently wake up versus when you just violently fall asleep, randomly. Anyway, hello there, Nate Jackson, Criterion Collection Viewer Guy here, trying my hand at an intro that relates to the movie at hand, which is number 277, My Own Private Idaho, Gus Van Sant's My Own Private Idaho, starring the late River Phoenix and the surprisingly not late Keanu Reeves. And I say surprisingly, I should say his career. His career is surprisingly not late. He continually makes movies. And say what you will about him. I know he's kind of a joke of Hollywood, but this one actually isn't bad. In the early days, I think his early movies, I think it was probably The Matrix that, like a lot of people criticize his performance just because he's so dead. And he just got to be known as like kind of a dead behind the eyes kind of actor. I don't know. So, but I don't know. Say what you will about him. It's not a bad movie, and I don't think he's that bad. I can see why people don't really dig his stuff. But anyway, but yeah. So anyway, if it looks a little different, it sounds a little different. It's because I'm in the old place once more. Had some business to take care of in Sacramento, and so I decided to come on up. And while I was here, I thought, well, I might as well just check out the old place and do it. So had to set up the camera in a weird place. It looks it's like mood lighting right now. But anyway, yeah, My Own Private Idaho. 1991, 104 minutes English. Not a bad movie. Pretty interesting stuff we got to watch here. Very, very pretty imagery. But yeah, so let's tell you about this one. So, River Phoenix is Mike Waters, and Mike Waters is this gay prostitute, and he doesn't really, I don't think he really has a home. He kind of just stays with people, and he has sex with men and all that, and he has a friend named Scott Favor. And Scott Favor is a little more refined. He's more of a thief than anything else. He is Scott Favor, who's played by Keanu Reeves, is the son of the dying mayor of Portland. I don't think it's actually said. I don't remember what it said that the mayor's son has, or the mayor has. But he's confined to a wheelchair, and he's very estranged to his son. Like, very rarely pops in, and he has to like call his men to. The mayor has to call his men to go find Scott. Scott is the heir of the mayor's fortune, and so when he turns 21, he's gonna inherit the money and all that, and he's gonna, and you can tell that Scott's trying to change his life around. Although he enjoys spending time with Mike. It's like obviously the winds of change are in motion for Scott. While Mike is trying to struggle to find out who he is. I think the main thing is Mike is trying to struggle to find his mother, who abandoned him at a young age. As I hinted to in the intro, Mike is also very narcoleptic. He has numerous bouts of narcolepsy where he'll just fall asleep randomly, and Scott has to carry him around everywhere, and so he'll find himself waking up and not knowing where he is, basically. And yeah, so I'm trying to think of what else can I tell you about this movie. So at one point, there's a lot of they also hang out with this guy Bob, who's like this street thug or hustler or whatever he is, and he's kind of a thespian. There's a lot of the dialogue between Bob and Scott is very Shakespeare influenced, and apparently there's a lot of Shakespeare in My Own Private Idaho, mostly Henry IV, as well as some Orson Welles too, movies. I forget the name of it, but there's some Orson Welles in it as well. So yeah, so at one point, the search, Mike really asks Scott for his help. So they have this stolen bike, and they travel, and they find out that his mother was working in this hotel as a maid or something, and she ended up flying to Rome. So they fly to Rome, and they find this house that they stay in. And one of the women who take them in, Carmelita or something like that, forget her name, it's like Carm something or other, maybe Carmita. But anyway, so she falls in love with Scott, Scott falls in love with her, and this kind of hurts Mike because Mike's fallen in love with Scott, and he even, confesses it to him, and Scott doesn't want any part, doesn't like Mike any further than just his best friend, And so this hurts Mike, and Mike doesn't really do anything about it. Scott ends up abandoning Mike in Rome, and Mike turns into a hustler there. Of course, it's hard because the language barrier. He doesn't know how to speak Italian, and when he has an narcoleptic fit in one of his John's apartments or whatever, the Italian guy doesn't know what to do with him. So anyway, he makes his way back to the States and hooks up with Bob again. And at this point, Bob and Mike find Scott. Scott, I guess, Scott and Carmelita, I'm wondering if maybe there's a booklet here that'll say what their names are. Nope, nothing like that. So anyway, Scott and his girlfriend are cleaned up. I guess he got the fortune. So he goes to this swanky club night, this swanky restaurant, and he meets with all his father's friends. And I guess by this point his father's died, and so he has the money. He's all rich, and Bob and his cohorts break into the restaurant and try to mingle with Scott, but Scott has basically broken ties with Bob. Scott acknowledges that at one point he was Bob. He thought of Bob as his true father, but at this point he's basically he no longer wants any part of Bob's misdoings or anything like that. So that night, Bob is heartbroken to the point where he ends up dying. I guess he dies of a broken heart, and so they end up having a funeral for Bob. I mean, obviously they're poor, so they have a funeral about 500 feet away, or 500 feet or 1,000 feet away from where Scott's father's funeral, the mayor's funeral, is happening. And so, whereas the mayor's funeral is very dignified, and they have a priest reading from the Bible, and Scott sitting with his girlfriend there, and over there we see Bob in a casket, or the casket, and everybody's chanting around the casket and yelling Bob, 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 an accordion player playing. Scott every once in a while looks over to and just so we get that the idea that Scott sometimes misses that old life, but we end with him looking forward at his father's casket, or the priest, or whatever. So it's possible that he's looking forward into his life, too. Meanwhile, Mike just continues to move on. The last scene features Mike on the road. There's a lot of road imagery. At one point, it's described in the supplements as a road movie, and I can totally see that. It's just, I think it's probably about half a road movie. But yeah, so the last image we get is Mike having a fit of narcolepsy on the road, and these truckers think he's dead and take his shoes, and then another unidentified person pulls over and takes him into his car, and that's how the movie ends, basically. Well, the last thing we see is a barn and the words "Have a nice day." which is a reference to, I think earlier in the movie he Mike's references to either the road or the sky, like mocking him as if to say "Have a nice day." And so yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, that's basically My Own Private Idaho. Just what can I say? Van Zandt. I know nothing of Van Zandt's work. I'm familiar with the movies he's done. Some of the movies he's done, like Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, Good Will Hunting, Milk. But I haven't seen any of those movies. I've had an interest in seeing Even Cowgirls Get the Blues because my ex's father really enjoyed that book, and she read it at one point, and so I'm familiar with I've never read the book, but I'm familiar with the novel, and so the movie is a little more interesting to me now because I have an idea of what the book is about and all that. So yeah, I might see Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, and of course, Good Will Hunting was a huge movie for Matt Damon and Robin Williams, and of course Milk with his name Harvey Keitel. I can't remember. I think it's Harvey Keitel, and it just came out about 8 years ago or so. So yeah, so Gus Van Zandt's had a very successful career. I just haven't seen any of the movies outside of this one, so and I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because a lot of his movies touch on homosexual themes and things like that, and that's just not something that I'm really interested in watching. I have no problem with watching this movie because of I had no problem with the fact that Mike was gay or Scott was I don't know if Scott was bi or anything like that, but the gay imagery didn't bother me at all. But it's just something that I it's not something that I really had a keen interest in watching. So there's some movies about gay people that I'm sure that are really interesting, but this is one that this is a really interesting movie, but it's not something that I feel like I want to get or watch again anytime soon. Maybe someday if somebody wanted me to watch it again. And I'd be like, hey, yeah, I've seen that movie. It was really good, And that's the thing. I did really like this movie, but I don't know if it's enough to make me want to own it. How obsessed I'm not really obsessed with this movie, as I am with other movies like High and Low and Monsieur Hulot's Holiday and things like that. But yeah. So anyway, it's a great movie. I really dug it. Phoenix and Reeves are great together, and Van Zandt's a lot of imagery in this movie is very, very pretty. The time lapse imagery. There's an iconic scene where there's a barn that falls out of nowhere and smashes onto the highway, and I don't know how the hell they did that. They must have rigged it. They had to have rigged it, and apparently it's based on a painting that Van Zandt does paintings, and that's one of the paintings that he did of a barn falling, or the barn door falling, a barn, like the top half of a barn falling and smashing onto the ground, and that was really pretty. I just don't know how they did that, but they must have had it rigged, right above the camera. But yeah, I really dug that little image. So anyway. So yeah, that's all I can say about My Own Private Idaho. I'm gonna give it. What did we give it? I'll give it an A. A really good movie. I could see it as it's a great little movie. Again, not something I don't think I'm gonna buy, although it is on Blu-ray. And I don't know. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. I don't know. But right now, it's not on the wish list. But it was a really good movie. I dug the imagery and the acting, and yeah, not a bad plot. Not a bad plot, and just it's an interesting little movie. And so I was at first I was like, Keanu Reeves in the Criterion Collection, really? But obviously this movie's not bad. So My Own Private Idaho A. Supplements. The film disc 1 is a 2-disc set. Film 1 has disc 1 has a trailer. Disc 2 has everything else. There's a 2-hour audio interview with Gus Van Zandt, and he talks with Todd Hayes. And there's an hour documentary called The Making of My Own Private Idaho, which is a new one produced for this disc. There's a new interview with film scholar Paul Arthur called Kings of the Road, where he talks about the Road movie and its connection to Shakespeare and Orson Welles. There's a 20-minute video interview with Lori Hayes, who's the producer, and Lori Parker. I'm sorry, Lori Parker, the producer, and Rain Phoenix, who is River's sister. And there was an audio interview between the writer J.T. Leroy and filmmaker Jonathan Cowlett, and how My Own Private Idaho influenced their own works. And there's a couple of deleted scenes, a scene where Bob and his people put on a play, and there's a scene where I guess Mike wakes up from one of his sleeping fits and notices that his gum fell out of his mouth and chews it back into his mouth or something like that. And yeah, that's basically it. So My Own Private Idaho, pretty cool movie. I give it an A. Check it out if you're into that sort of thing. Check it out if you want to see Keanu Reeves in a good movie. How about that? So anyway, so there you are for today. So that's it for this week. And yeah, so anyway, what's next? Oh, so I got some movies. So Monday, I got this. I am so not looking forward to this. I mean, just from the cover and the fact that it's Antonioni, and the fact that apparently this has a connection to La Aventura, which I couldn't stand. I thought it was one of the most boring movies ever. And people want me to watch that one again. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, but yeah. So anyway, Antonioni Eclipse is next on Monday, and then Wednesday we got Wednesday we got Young Torless, and then Thursday The Sword of Doom, and then next Saturday we've got Jules and Jim, which I don't have on me right now. Although if we don't get it, which I will by next week because I've already put an order on it, we could start on the Lady Vanishes. Yay! Redo the Lady Vanishes because it's gotta redo the Lady Vanishes. So yeah. So anyway, so that's it for today. We've got the week on moving, and then after this, the Lady Vanishes. After this, I really think. Like, I've been torn between, just rewatching movies that I can't remember and just doing them because I can't remember them and want to just redo the review just for my own edification. And then there are a lot of that I want to redo just because I feel like I didn't give them a great... I feel like I have a better understanding of the movie or the director more so. Like The Seventh Seal. I really want to watch The Seventh Seal again because... I now have this kind of love-hate relationship with Bergman where there are a lot of good movies by Bergman, but a lot of weird, crazy ones by Bergman. So I want to go back and do The Seventh Seal, which is a lot of people think is one of his greatest movies, So I want to go back and try that one and see if I can't give it a better rating. I think I gave it like a D or something, or maybe an F. And that wasn't fair. I mean, I want to maybe who knows? I may not give it more than a C now, but I'm going to try it again. That's the thing. I want to try it again. So, but then there are also ones that I want to watch again just because I can't remember a lick of them, like Hard Boiled, John Woo's Hard Boiled. So yeah, that one may be another one we'll do in the next 2 weeks from now or so. But also we've got I've got the War Trilogy, the Watch of the War Trilogy coming. A Generation, Canal, and Ashes and Diamonds are on their way. So we'll be getting those soon, and and after that I think we're gonna take a break and do a whole week of probably do a whole week of rewatches, and then we'll get to DeForest Italian Style, Burden of Dreams, F for Fake, Hoop Dreams, Phantom of Liberty, Heaven Can Wait. Oh, I can't wait for Heaven Can Wait after seeing Night in the City, Gene Tierney, my darling. Oh dear. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to that one. And Unfaithfully Yours, that's another one that I'm looking forward to too. Flower of St. Francis, I think that's, was it Robert Bresson, I think. And after seeing A Diary of a Country Priest, I'm dying to see that one as well. So anyway, we'll leave it here. That's it for me. Thank you for watching. Morals, shit. do morals? I guess protection. Safe sex. 90s, man. Safe sex. If you're gonna have sex, use condoms. You know, love and mercy and all that stuff. I don't know. Shit. I don't know. Just don't be afraid to be who you are. I don't know. I don't know. I know there's a really good. I know some good ones. If your Gus Van Sant, don't get shots of your stars pissing. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on Monday for the clips. Oh, dearie. Anyway, until then, goodbye.